What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? Money Smart Guy, Matt Cipolla here. Hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, and welcome to episode 37 of the 7 Figure Squad podcast. Join me in the studio today is my co-host, my boy, my trainer, Milton Alvarez. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Happy Wednesday.
By the way, I got some interesting news here, man. I'm speaking for the very first time on a Spanish Latino platform tomorrow.
Which one?
Latino 1000.
Okay.
So they want me to do it in English, and they're going to have somebody translate me in Spanish. It's kind of interesting. So the conversation about money, inflation, and getting hit financially, it's reaching. Listen, guys, I don't care if you're black, white, brown, yellow, you name it. We got one color here, which is the lighting of the studio.
Green, baby.
Green. And it just seems to me the message is resonating with everybody from, no matter what socioeconomic, ethnic upbringing that you're about. I mean, entrepreneurship unites us all. We all need money.
Correct.
So on the show today, we've got some very interesting conversations about a specific thing that Deion Sanders said when I interviewed him on stage a couple years ago about what we go through as parents and what we're providing for our children. It's one of the most replayed sections of our interview. Presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy gives college student career advice. Also, we're going to talk about the WWE acquisition, and we just might have a special guest joining us here on the phone at the bottom of the hour. Should you, if your kids are of driving age, should they be provided or parents purchase them a car? Okay? I'd love to know your thoughts on that here in a second, and what does that give them? Also, my thoughts here and some reactions on flying cars. They're ready to go. They're ready to be up for sale. And also, why father's important. You got some interesting topics here, too, as well, on the fitness side of things.
Yeah, so for the health and fitness side of things, I want to be able to dive into one main topic that nowadays it's becoming such a trend to do cold plunges. And I want to be able to dive in between the relationship between cold exposure and testosterone levels. And is it more beneficial to cold plunge first and then work out? Or do you first work out and then cold plunge in order for you to increase your testosterone levels to optimal levels? And now, as far as money goes, there's something that I discovered myself a couple weeks ago, that there's actual hidden income sources in your home. It could be literally in the bottom of the box of in your closet. So
you got assets
I have
that
assets
you don't
in my
even
closet
know about.
since 1999.
Assets in your closet.
Since 1999, baby. And then one reaction video from my end, that women should have standards. And women having standards, correct. Women having standards, men, before entering a relationship, what are maybe 3 or 4 things that you should be aware of, or important aspects of your life that you should first take care of before you even consider pursuing a woman? Yeah,
and by the way, I've got speaking of money, a Chicago Bears. I'm not going to talk about the Chicago Bears versus Packers, but that was a scrub of a game, man. But there is a Chicago Bears player that was drafted, and these new NIL deals that college kids are now able to sign in college, and they can earn money from the name, image, and likeness. This guy apparently got hustled. So we'll unpack that, because this is going to be a very apparent thing for all the college athletes out there who are student athletes. You guys are stud athletes of your campus. You're big man bag, big girl on campus. There are some things in the NIL deals that you need to be aware of, because they're not talking to you about financial literacy in high school or in college. We don't want you getting ripped off, especially if this is probably the highest earning years of your collegiate career, your sports career. We don't want you getting hustled, so make sure you stay tuned to this case study we're going to do on Gervon Dexter. Okay, so this first thing I want to share is this reaction to this katana sword, a ninja sword.
Okay,
ninja sword. So you got 2 people striking a sword. You got an amateur and a pro. Okay,
let's do it.
And you would think that a katana sword in the hands of either an amateur or a pro potentially might have the same results. I don't know. What do you think? Let's take a look at this. Come to bamboo. Slicing through. Not bad, right? Not bad. You're giving it their all, man. All right, here's the master. Here's the master. Same sword. Like butter. Like butter. Like butter. Like butter. So, what's my point? Oftentimes people think, I got a business, I got a podcast, I got a career, I got a degree, I have a certification, and I'm about to kick everybody's butt.
Yeah.
But in the hands of a master, they might use that vehicle, that instrument, that opportunity much differently because they have the lens of a master versus somebody as an amateur just whacking away at things. I mean, granted, they may have fooled themselves with that katana sword in the backyard, chopping down 4, 5, 6 bamboo, but in the hands of a master, I mean, look at that, effortless, how we just slice through. What's your thoughts, man? Sometimes people think that just because I got a business, just because an Instagram profile, podcast, I got a new endeavor, new opportunity, I'm going to have the same results as potentially as a master would have without realizing the time and effort that it takes to actually build that craft.
Well, this to me it actually correlates with the difference between someone going to school for business for 4 or 5 years. What was it, 4 or 5 years or so, get their associates or bachelors, versus someone who's actually been in business for 4 or 5 years. One's been gone through the motions, has had repetition, has encountered the downfalls, has experienced the mistakes, and they've learned from it. And the one person who's gone to school for 4 years, they've been taught by someone who. Let me ask you a question. Do you know? Maybe I could be wrong. No disrespect to all the professors out there, but for the people who actually who are professors at a university teaching about business, how many of them actually have successful businesses?
I have a very small, I believe, a very small percentage of them have actually had their own business.
So me personally, I would rather be taught by a high-level entrepreneur who's been in business for X amount of time, who's proven himself, proven herself, gone through the motions, gone through the mental motions and everything that an entrepreneur would go through versus someone who has, what is it, a doctorate and a PhD? What's the highest form? Doctorate?
PhD,
right?
Yeah.
Someone who's had the highest degree but never has actually owned a business. And I think, like you said, when it comes down to the master, I'm sure that it's been repetition after repetition after repetition. When you first started working out with me, when we first started doing lunges or squats, there are certain movements that you just couldn't do. You couldn't perfect at the very
Still working
time.
through it.
But now that you've done it, what is it now? It's been four years or so that you've been able to do it.
2019, right?
Right. So repetition, day in, day out, week, month, year. And now you today versus you back then, it's a completely different person when it comes down to that motion.
Yeah, especially my son now. So that most parents that come home to their kids, the best feeling of a parent is to have the kids run up to them. Not Jordan. He sees me, he takes off the other way because he wants me to chase him.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't have the energy or the flexibility in my knees and my hips and all that stuff, I'm not chasing this kid.
Yeah.
And and so if you're out there and you're wondering how to get ahead, just because you got an insurance license, just because you got a real estate license, just because you got a law license, whatever the case, you have a new profession, new career, are you getting mentored and trained by somebody who has actually mastered it? And make sure you don't follow these online gurus who sell you on things. We were just having a conversation the other day with Jeremy Mind right here in this chair, because sometimes people make more money selling courses of doing something than actually doing that of which they're selling courses to do. Mm-hmm. So, for example, in Chicago, there's this company out there called Nouveau Reach, right? And I went to their their weekly conferences, just similar to what we would do at a financial literacy conference with insurance. And everyone, real estate, great. And guys are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. I'm like, wow, you guys are pretty successful real estate investors, because that's what the course is, that's what there was all about. Yeah, and sell this education. And so they'd say, okay, sell this education. It's a $20,000 course, it's a $10,000 course, but you got a 50% commission. Mm-hmm. So if I sell a $10,000 course, I would make $5,000 in commission. If I sell a $20,000 course,
make $10,000. Yeah.
$10,000 commission. And so, guys, I make $200,000-$300,000. Great. So, how many of these short sales have you done? How many fix and flips have you done? So, I'm working on my first ones. Come on, bro. So, you made more money. So, in other words, the hoorah here and the hoopla is not around you actually doing the thing of real estate investing. You actually making money just selling education courses. Yeah. So that's where you got. That's where you got to cut. Cut the difference makers between the doers and the wannabes. And so you always get a lot. Elon Musk is even on record saying, listen, a college degree doesn't get you much. And I will say this, between the two of us, 0 college degrees. Patrick and David, 0 college degree. The highest income earners of our firm, PHP agency, no college degree. My wife has a college degree in finance, but she uses very little of it. When she sat down with 1 hour with one of our guys going over financial literacy and insurance planning, especially this being Life Insurance Awareness Month, this was 2012. She goes, babe, she comes on to the conference room with one of my guys because we were still dating at the time. I didn't want to know her money situation at the moment. Still early in our relationship. And she goes, babe, I've learned more in 1 hour with one of your guys about personal finance, about 401ks, about life insurance, about being a single mom and taking care of my financial responsibilities, what my needs are, in 1 hour than my 4 years in college with a finance degree. Because she learned it was corporate finance that she was studying, not personal finance, right. much different perspective.
Yeah.
And so when she found out about that, and she said, okay, the most important license for me now is not my college degree. My most important license is my insurance license, which brings me to my next topic. You know, a lot of innovation is going on in America today. And would you know that this is actually now up for sale? How many of you are watching this right now and you're stuck in traffic, or listening to this right now, you're stuck in traffic, or you're watching a replay, you're stuck in traffic, you're listening to the podcast and you're stuck in traffic? Biggest reason why I left Chicago, bro?
Traffic.
Is it traffic? Because I felt it was robbing my time. But this invention, I put some time back on your side. Let's take a look at this video here about new flying cars. They're taking deposits now because they're about to sell them. Let's take a look.
That's it.
The world's first electric flying car has been approved for test flights and is even available for pre-order for the price of $300,000. California's Olive Aeronautics has received a special airworthiness certification from the Federal Aviation Administration to test its Model A flying car on both the road and in the air. Last year, the startup automaker opened pre-sales for what it says is, quote, the only drivable flying car with vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. The Olive Model A flying car is designed to fit within existing urban infrastructure, meaning it can be driven on public roads and fit into a standard garage. The two-person vehicle is fully electric with a driving range of 200 miles and a flight range of 110 miles. Buyers can put a $150 deposit to join the general queue or $1,500 to receive priority access. According to Olive, approximately 440 people put down deposits in 2022. Olive CEO says the company plans to begin deliveries in late 2025.
Wow. Knowing me, my habits, I'll probably end up crashing that thing. Not because I'm a crazy driver, because my gas tank is always on empty.
Besides that, I'm sure we're gonna have to have some form of like special license for that. Just like when truck drivers have CDLs and some form of aviation courses that we're gonna have to start taking out the DNVs in order to be able to get those suckers off.
I'm excited about that though.
Yeah.
I'm excited. How many times have I envisioned me sitting in traffic? If only I can do one of two things: either be a bulldozer of a car, or just fly over everything. And now it's becoming a reality. Bro, we're about to live in an era where the Jetsons are going to be a reality.
Imagine that. So speaking of which, if I want to veer off of that and kind of piggyback off of that, have you seen this preview going on called The Creator Movie?
The Creator
Movie. So it's against the backdrop of war between humans and robots.
No.
Artificial intelligence, right? So a former soldier finds a secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child. Yep. And it's just basically war going on between us humans and the technology that we're actually currently inventing right now through all these programs
and AI and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, Jordan, there's two videos actually. The Creator Movie. It's a 2-minute video, but we're gonna only watch maybe about 20 seconds of it, and then the follow-up one will be the bots that were spotted at the Chargers game. Check this out.
What's heaven?
It's a peaceful place in the sky.
Are you going to heaven?
Good soundtrack.
No.
Dream on, baby. I love this song.
Why not?
Sometimes you play this at the gym.
You gotta be a good person to go to heaven.
10 years ago today, the artificial intelligence created to protect us detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles. For as long as AI is a threat, we will never stop hunting them. This is a fight for our very existence.
All right.
It's modern day Terminator, bro.
Correct. Now, check out what actually showed up this past weekend at the Chargers game to promote the movie.
Wait, that's an actual robot?
Yeah.
No.
Those are actual robots.
No. 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 Bro, they look real. Are those... They look like...
Exactly. And that's all just to promote the movie. What a time to be alive.
Were those real people or those robots?
Robots. What a time to be alive, Matt. What a time to invest into AI.
So flying cars and AI.
The next 20 years of our lives are going to be extremely interesting.
Holy
Very
moly.
scary, but extremely interesting. It might be time to start looking into AI. Maybe some investments here.
So this year we're introducing flying cars, AI, and men can get pregnant. Did you hear about the womb? What do you call that? When you have an organ to somebody else's body, womb transplant.
No way.
Oh, they're doing womb transplants. So for those of you excited about 2023, we're gonna be looking at 2033, and like our lives started to change in 23. By the way, I hope that's what you say about your personal finances. I hope that whatever situation that you're in, good, bad, indifferent, you're excited about what you're making, you're not excited about what you're making. I hope that you can look back in 10 years and say, you know what, I made progress, listen to the right conversations, listen to the right podcasts, listen to the right mentors and coaches, and you got yourself financially ahead. Which brings me to my next topic here. Let's talk about Gervon Dexter, who's living a dream. He is a Florida Gator that got drafted by the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Let me take a look at this article here. Jordan, can you show my screen? So Gervon Dexter signed with the speculative investment capital company while playing at the University of Florida in 2022. Okay, and so Gervon Dexter, if you guys don't know what he looks like, this is what he looks like right here. Okay, played at Florida. He's a defensive tackle, 3 technique for the Bears. Okay. He signed a He signed a $436,000 one-time payment, okay, right here, to play college football and earn money from his name, image, and likeness, which is what a lot of college players can do today. Whether you're gymnastics, baseball, golf, football, basketball, if you've got a name, you've got an image and a likeness that's well marketed in your local area, there's entrepreneurs out there and businesses and brands out there that want to partner together with you to make money off your name, image, and likeness. In this case, this big league advance fund. Heads up, guys! Big League Advance Fund. It's a name to keep notice to. But they paid him $436,000 in exchange. They want 15% of his pre-tax NFL earnings for the next 25 years. Basically, what athlete has ever played 25 years in NFL? None. No. Not even Tom Brady.
No.
So what they're basically saying is for the rest of your NFL career, most careers ending in 3-4 years in the NFL, we want basically 15% if we give you this check of $436,000. Okay? Now, he signed a $6 million contract with the Bears on June 16, meaning he would owe BLA, Big League Advance Fund, about $1 million over the lifetime of that deal. If he signs a second contract, he still has to pay them 15%, and that's when you make your money.
Yeah.
If you sign a third contract, that's when you make your money, right? And so these deals are supposed to be an athlete could participate in the free market, and when they graduate, whether they go on and play professional or not, any future contract are null and void. In other words, we don't want someone having access to somebody's future without them having proper guidance and proper representation, because his lawyers now are suing this company that this was a predatory loan. Okay, and is violating legislation in 2020. They allowed college athletes to profit off their name. So according to the Senate Bill 646, the duration of contract for representation of an intercollegiate athlete or compensation for use of an intercollegiate athlete's name, image, or likeness may not extend beyond her or his participation in the athletic program at a post-secondary educational institution. Because here's the thing, if he doesn't pay these guys, Big League Advance Fund, 15% of his NFL contract, what they can do is try to say, hey, man, we're going to sue you now in court because you owe us money from your...
And they'll be taking more money from him.
That's right.
Than what they're asking for.
So, Dexter's attorneys declined comment, obviously because they're in the middle of a lawsuit. So it didn't reply right away. Dexter's attorneys are asking a federal judge to void his agreement with BLA because it does not conform with Florida's NIL law and the state's athlete agent statute. What's your thoughts on this?
I was actually going to ask you, from you being around the people that you're around with these athletes that you're consistently speaking to, what could be a takeaway for just a regular Joe Schmo like us, like me?
If you're about to sign a contract that obligates you to pay somebody back, if you receive money, somebody's willing to give you money, also have discernment. Like, well, bro, what's up with the cash?
Yeah.
And then if you're signing something in exchange for, if you take this check in exchange for something else, you have to find out what that something else is. Because now your name is on the line because you signed it. So, and people are saying, by the way, there's a lot of comments on social media, say, oh my gosh, well, he was a teenager, he was a kid, didn't know what he was doing, he was taking advantage of a young impressionable kid. Well, guess what? Get in line then in front of every military base out there for every 18, 19, 20-year-old E1, E2, E3 private to lance corporal or any non-commissioned officer out there who's signing a 25%, 30% car loan when they get back from a deployment. How come we don't say anything about that? How come people say things about only a professional athlete? There's tons of service members out there, they get predatory lended. But here's the thing too as well. Hey, bro, you signed a contract.
Yeah.
If you're signing a check to receive $436,000, which is not a small amount of money.
Yeah.
If you sign it for $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, PPP loan.
Yeah.
Right? If you take any money from the Small Business Administration, even a credit card advance, because they can send you these checks in the mail instead of you charging, right? They send you a check, you deposit in your bank account. The moment you receive money from somebody else that's not yours, you have to ask yourself, what do you want in exchange? What are the strings? Because once you sign a contract, my friend, you're not on the hook. And I've signed many contracts where I didn't sign, and I ended up paying for it. Time, a lot of anxiety, but you're responsible. The moment you say, I'll receive this money, student loan, and I'll pay it back after graduation, 6 months after graduation, you're on the hook. Don't wait for the government to pay it off, because life has a funny way of teaching you tough financial lessons. Now, one or two ways to learn about money: good decisions, learning and seeking wisdom, or you're reactive to it, learning from your mistakes, right? One's the smart way, one's the dumb way. I learned a lot from the dumb way because I made my own personal mistakes as I was haphazard and making these financial decisions, but we learned the hard way. So that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, same. Read the contracts, read between the lines, and if you don't understand what you're reading, find someone who does, someone who's already been in your shoes, or someone who knows about those legalities. Because same way as Matt said, I personally have learned from the dumb way, and potentially I'm still actually learning from the dumb way in many areas of my life, that I'm paying back for my early 20s, that I wasn't very wise with my money and my spending, and with a lot of things that I did with my personal finance when it comes down to contracts and things of that nature. So for any young guy out there watching this, or watching this now live, or going to watch this in the future, read between the lines, read it thoroughly. Don't skip over it just because it's quick, easy money. Someone's decided to say, hey, here's $500,000, Milton. Milton, 19, 20 years old. Sure, where do I sign? Automatic. We see a lot of money, especially if you come from a background of people not really having that kind of money. You're going to sign automatically.
Yep.
Milton nowadays asking a lot of questions. So definitely ask a lot of questions, figure out why it's happening, and
bring counsel.
Boom, exactly.
Don't have a lawyer to sue. Have a lawyer to review.
Yep.
I mean, there's been many lawyers that I've paid $250. Let's say Gervon Dexter paid him $500 for an hour to review this contract, and a lawyer gives him, here's my counsel. Mm-hmm. Here's what you're responsible for. Let me put you into layman's terms. That's what a lawyer is supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Bring them in as counsel before you make decisions. That's why they're called counselors. Okay. If you look back on the screen, Jordan, it was in a question inside this agreement with Gervon Dexter. He initialed a section. Okay. Where he was asked if he agreed to give BLA 15% of his future professional football earnings. So he initialed it. So it means he reviewed it. So in its quote, it says, as an example, is what he had agreed to, he initialed, as an example of the potential amounts that you may be required to pay big league advance under this agreement. If you make $100 million in professional football earnings over the 25 years from the date you signed this agreement, you will be required to pay us $15 million as you earn that money. Now, from the outside, you're like, I ain't making $100 million yet. But the moment you sign a $100 million contract and you realize you have to pay $15 million, and then you still got to pay your agent, and then you still got to pay taxes.
That's a big chunk. And especially if you have no financial literacy, you just start spending money on random things.
And this is pre-tax earnings. Yeah. So these guys are smart. This BLA, Big League Advance, they're smart. They're not saying after tax, they're saying pre-tax. And gross pay, net pay, pre-tax, after tax. So he's paying 15% on the bigger amount. So I hope they can unwind it and give this guy somehow, some way a second chance. But if they don't do it, they don't give him a second chance, you're stuck, brother. And word of warning to any athlete out there in college looking at making money off your name. If you're a big man on campus, big girl on campus, please make sure you watch this portion and learn from this mistake, because you could be next. Because if you don't get drafted into the NFL or NBA or any professional sports after, there could be also some other things that NIL deals will give you money in exchange for. Make sure you have counsel to review, because this might be the only time you ever make this type of money based on your ability to play sports as an amateur, because most guys and gals don't get to next level and play professional. So, all right, let's move on to the next topic. The WWE has acquired, let's take a look at this. The WWE, if you can look at my screen here, the WWE has been acquired by the UFC for 20. Has merged under UFC. WWE has merged with UFC under Endeavor's $21 billion company. quote TKO Group earnings. And so pretty exciting times for the for combat sports and sports and entertainment. So check this out though. Vince McMahon bought WWE in 1982 for $1 million.
From his father.
Woo! From his father.
From his father.
God, he bought it from his dad. No kidding. Wow. How many people would do that? How many people would say, you know, that's my dad. He should just give it to me. But good for him to say, I bought it from my dad for $1 million. And he built it since 1982, 40 some years now, to $9.3 billion. What a way to flip it and put 40 years of your life into something. And so we're gonna call up a friend of ours.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna call up a friend of ours. In the meantime, what's your 2 cents on this acquisition from Endeavor?
I think it's good for the fans. It potentially could go bad for some of the athletes. Some of them might start getting underpaid now. But I think the person you're about to call has a little bit more information on that. These are just speculations based on a lot of these online people that have been commenting on it. But let's see what happens.
Let's see if we can get our good friend Bobby Lashley on the phone here. See if he picks up.
Your call has been forwarded.
We'll call him here in the next few minutes. He just sent me a text too. But yeah, I mean, good for him, man. Good for him that you can start off small, put your time and effort into it. His daughter, I know, his daughter's running things too as well, right?
Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah,
Stephanie McMahon Hunter, which is Stephanie's husband from 20 plus years ago, known as Triple H on WWE. Shane McMahon, I think he's slightly involved, not as involved anymore as he used to be. But I really think this collaboration is going to do a lot for a lot of the stockholders and for the fans. It's going to be an interesting 5-10 years from now on. These next 5-10 years for both the UFC and WWE. I'm not sure if they're going to do any cross branding type of situations, but we've already seen some fighters be on WWE, and we've seen one athlete, Brock Lesnar, who's been in the WWE and the UFC, both world heavyweight champion on both shows. So who knows? You might see that like cross branding.
I hope the actual fighters and wrestlers get paid more money.
Yeah,
because the big knock on combat sports, big knock on these guys is a troll like Jake Paul and Logan Paul.
Yeah,
they can go on and troll these guys, and they bring so much eyeballs because everybody's so much curious about how these fighters are going to fight these guys now in the ring. And I mean, kudos to them because what the Paul brothers are doing is they're bringing these former big brand name type of athletes into the space to fight at their strength, not at wrestling, not at mixed martial arts, but through boxing. And I think it's pretty important for them to figure out where they're at in terms of always bringing somebody to your strength, and they're making tons of millions of dollars. I think there's some thoughts there. Said, listen, I've been fighting in UFC for 5 years or 10 years. How does this guy making one fight more money I've made in 10 years?
Yeah. And there's a lot of speculation that there was this collaboration between these two brands into one holding, because Saudi Arabia actually started their own Impact fighting, and a lot of the fighters that UFC has not taken care of, they're losing those fighters to the Saudi Arabia brand. What is it called? The PFL.
Premier Fight League.
Yeah. So
in Saudi Arabia, they're stacked with cash, man. They're trying to do everything to bring sports into Saudi Arabia. They're trying to bring golf into Saudi Arabia. They're trying to bring soccer into Saudi Arabia. We sponsor a fighter named Jose Shorty Torres. What's up, Shorty? From Cicero. He's fighting in Brave. Which is another league. So hey, more power to these guys, man. There's apparently a lot of money in sports entertainment, and more specifically in combat sports. I just hope the players and the fighters and the wrestlers get paid more money. We had Bobby here, and he says a lot of guys don't make that 7 figures in wrestling, and they put so much on their body. I mean, I'm looking at Bobby. He's mid 40s now, and he's still flying up the top ropes, and it's not even in the ring. He's flying outside the ring into barricades, and nothing's padded, and so. These guys, whatever you want to call it, fake or not, you try the stuff. Yeah, you try the stuff.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. You want to bring up? You want to bring up a way? Speaking of money, you want to bring up a topic here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Things? Yeah.
So, for those people watching, this is something I actually discovered on my own a couple weeks ago when I was moving out of my household into a new home. Is that for a lot of people who are asking, is there ways that I can make more money, some extra cash, or is there anything that I have in my closet or in my attic or in storage that could potentially be worth some form of money? And there's actually a lot of hidden income sources in your home, and some of them are actually, memorabilia, trading cards, certain jerseys, certain just old furniture, things that you have at home, and a lot of people collect them as antiques. But there was one that caught my attention, and they're Pokemon cards.
Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
They're Pokemon cards, right? So the first Pokemon cards, they were printed in 1999, and they're not considered the old Pokemon cards, right? Vintage Pokemon cards by fans of the series. And some of these cards are actually worth thousands, or if not $10,000s of dollars right now, if they're in good condition.
Wow.
So for all the guys and women out there who are watching this, and you guys have stacks of Pokemon cards like myself, so check this out.
Oh, you got some examples?
Yeah. So there's only maybe like the small, and please, if there's women out here watching, me having Pokemon cards at age 31, I just found these. These are from 1999. I don't collect them now, but they've been in storage for years. And Matt, just in this little what is it, like 5-6 page thing? There's $20,000 worth of Pokemon cards here, if I do it the correct way.
Okay, hold on. I got.
If I do it the correct way, check this out.
Gotcha. Okay. So how old are these?
From 1999.
Okay, 1999.
1999.
Oh, so
these
are
are
both
vintage.
sides.
These are the vintage Pokemon cards.
Okay, so this is one of my profitable hobbies.
All right.
So I collect football cards. With NFL, I don't go quarterbacks and specific key players, but I don't go a lot of positions outside of quarterback. Basketball, any position. Soccer, I'm starting to get into soccer in terms of cards. But what thing you have to do is once you get these cards, if you get these cards, you'll see a lot of guys break the packs and they're wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get oil of your hands onto the cards because that might hurt the quality of the card. So if you want to monetize these cards or get involved in a hobby, you put these right away into a plastic sleeve or something like this to protect it, or they have these actual one card slides. Mm-hmm. So it's protective plastic.
Yeah.
Because now you want to get graded.
Yeah. So what does that mean for
in
people?
this version? It's called raw.
Raw.
It's just you're raw donging it right now, right?
Yeah.
So this is raw. So you want to send it to one of two major grading associations, which is called PSA and Beckett. So PSA is in LA. Beckett's actually right down the street here in Farmers Branch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what they'll do is they'll grade it. They'll grade on 4 different areas of criteria. Number 1, the surface. Okay. Is it smudged? Is there print marks? Is it, they're looking at the quality of the card. So they're going to look at the surface, see if there's any smudges, any scratches. That's number 1. Second one is the centering of the card. You want to make sure it's perfectly in the center. There's small deviation to be because you want this to be a pristine type of card to be at the highest value. So first one's surface. Second is centering. Third is edges. You'll make sure there's nothing that has
the edges clean,
dented the edges. And the fourth one, which is the hardest one, is corners.
Yeah. So
sometimes we mishandle these cards. Without us even knowing it, it dents the card. So, and they'll rate it. So from PSA 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest, right? Beckett's 10, and then there's black 10, and then there's pristine 10.
Yeah.
So that's Beckett. PSA, a lot of the market goes to PSA. But to get these graded, it takes a minute because they're so backlogged. What COVID did, everybody went back to their cards and they shoved everything into the grading companies, and they were backlogged for like 6 months to a year.
Jesus. Okay.
So people are like, wait, I need to trade these cards, and my card's on a shelf somewhere waiting to get graded, and I'm going to a trading show. Yeah. And so if you want to monetize these, one or two ways to sell it. Either A, this is raw, it's got to be clean though, right? The beauty in the whole beauty is in the eye of the beholder at that time. Or the second one is if you want to take out all that, spend $50, $100, get each individual card graded. So therefore now you can say, hey, my card is now authenticated, graded, it's registered via barcode, and they can say of the entire class of cards, that's a PSA 10, I don't know, what is this, Charmander. What's the most expensive card you had here? What's the most valuable card?
So far, it's Charmander and
really
Meowth, and these holographic ones, but mainly these here.
So
I have about 4 of these.
So what are these worth right now?
This is around, if it's in the proper way, mint condition, it's worth about $2,000.
It's $2,000 for this card. Okay, so we got to get this graded because right now, I would go to say, you know what? it's ungraded, I'll pay you $500 for it or $250.
Yeah.
Because based on however, I'll nickel and dime you, and then I take it to get graded, and then I'll make the $2,000.
Yeah.
So either you make $200 off it, or you spend the $50, $100 to get it graded, and see what it comes in at, based on those 4 criteria. I love this hobby, man. So just so you guys know, the second largest card show in America is right here in Dallas.
Wow.
So you want to go follow Dallas Card Show on Instagram, Dallas Card Show. But this is one of my, I geek out on this type of stuff.
I'll use this to pay for my wedding one day. Totally kidding.
So I wonder if I have it here. But Patrick, during COVID, right before COVID, I had Patrick. I was doing business plan with Patrick in the office, and he showed me some cards. They came in and said, PBD, what's this? I wonder if I have the card here. But he bought 2 Wayne Gretzky rookie cards. One was Fleer, one was OPG. Okay, where's I'm not sure if I have it here. Anyway, make a long story short, I saw Patrick buy it for $450,000.
How much?
$450,000.
Okay.
So I'm looking at these cards like, what are you, PBD? What are you doing? He bought this card. I'm trying to find this picture here in my favorites, but sure enough, he bought the cards, and I was actually holding it with black gloves. The CEO of Beckett came by, personally delivered it because they're right here in Farmers Branch. Tigran is part of this conversation, and anyway, make a long story short, through the pandemic, massive amount of cash was flooded the marketplace, and guess what Patrick did? So I'll see if I can find the article here. So Gretzky rookie card. Oh, here it is. So if you can show my screen. So Patrick buys it for $400,000. He flips it during pandemic for 1.29. 1.29. And so his card, Patrick's card, his sale made the LA Times.
Wow.
This is exactly the card I was holding. He sold it through right here. See, Dallas-based Heritage Auctions are right here, and it was crazy. I remember Patrick bought it and he sold it, and whoop, there it is. What a great hobby. Yeah. So if you guys are collecting cards, I got JoJo into collecting cards.
What would you say is the card that you own right now that's the most valuable, or will one?
Michael Jordan rookie.
What was the value when you got it, and what do you think the value will be in the next couple years?
I got it for is a PSA 8. It's a PSA 8 baseball. I'm taking you guys through my little hobby here, baseball or sports cards. So I'm taking through my little folder here. So if you look at my screen, this is my little hobby, man. Getting these cards. I'm about to get these cards graded. So I got another one. I got a LeBron rookie.
Nice.
Right. So I got a LeBron rookie card here. And that's gonna be some money. The top score is 10. So that's a 9.5. So you got to get these cards graded. Oh, here it is. Here's the picture of me holding those.
Wow.
Wayne Gretzky record. $500,000 as I'm holding right there. Patrick sells them both for over $2 million bucks during pandemic. So to your point, you're right. It is a profitable hobby.
Yeah.
It's some form of alternative investment.
You gotta know how to do it right.
Yeah, you gotta know how to do it right. That's right. I'm glad you brought that up, man. You got me all geeked out about this stuff.
Yeah, I know you're smiling. You didn't smile much, guys.
All right. Speaking of that, speaking of things you do as a kid, let's take a look at this video here. Let me ask you this question. Did you grow up with a car?
No.
Taking a bus and a train everywhere, bike?
Did I grow up with a car? Going to school?
For you.
What age?
High school. When you got to driving age.
Yeah.
Did you acquire a car, or are you still taking a bus?
I walked. Friend drove me. Parents drove me, and then by my senior year, I was working enough where I can get my own.
So you got your own car. Yeah. For those of you watching this live, or for those of you watching the replay, did your parents buy you a car when you were 16? Did you want your parents to buy you a car when you were 16? Were you fortunate enough? I remember these kids, man. Back then, it was like a Mustang 5.0 or a IROC Z.
Okay.
Grand National in my neighborhood, Buick Regal.
Grand Nationals are nice. To this day, baby.
So you guys would know neighborhoods those last two cars goes in. But I was always taking the bus, 307 bus, 322 bus, 302 bus. Those were my bus routes in Chicago. I'd take a bike, but every time I took a bike and I locked it up, it'd always get busted and somebody would steal my bike. So I'd take the bus everywhere. But the dilemma is, if your kids are 16 years old, should you get them a car? So Jordan, can you play this clip? Buying your kids a car, should you or should you not?
Adamantly against the buying of cars for kids when they turn.
You are?
I am.
Oh, I'd
I
hate to be
absolutely
your
am.
kid.
Would you?
Yes. Do you have kids?
I do.
And they're not driving age yet?
They're not. They're 11 and 9.
And when they're old enough to have a car, you're not going to help them.
There will be a vehicle
How
or
judgmental
vehicles that our
Bradley
family
sound.
owns, and they can ask for permission to use the family vehicle. And if no one else is using it that evening and they've done their chores and gotten good grades and spoken respectfully, then they can have access to the car, but it's not theirs.
You're not going to buy them a car.
No.
I bought all my children so far that are driving ages cars. They're just fine. I just helped them rather than made them jump through a bunch of hoops to get one on their own, because I had to get one on my own and I didn't like it. Now, if I had a crystal ball and it was said, Brad, if you bought you a car, you would have expected this and you would have gotten weak and you never would have been successful, then don't buy them a car. But there's no proof that buying them a car and helping them in life is going to hurt them.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for data, I mean, I'm not sure there's data, but here's a basic principle, Brad. We never value things we get for free. Zero. We value things that we earn and pay for with our blood, sweat, and tears and time and effort. And so, by the way, I'll let Brad. I got Brad's cell phone, and we've interviewed it here on 7Figure Squad. I don't agree with him on this point, and good for him. The other lady, here's my reaction to her. She's still working from a position of theory, because you don't know how she's going to cave under peer pressure.
Exactly.
You know, you don't know how she's going to cave under, Mommy, you know, my best friend just got a car, and how come you don't get me a car? She doesn't know that yet. She doesn't know what type of peer pressure she's going to get from her children, parental pressure from that peer group. But before I go into some of my thoughts, what's your initial thoughts when you saw this? Buy him a car or not buy him a car, assuming you had kids?
Well, I started working when I was 14 years old. Legally, the working age is 16 years old, 15 if you have a worker's permit, but I started doing side jobs at 14. So I was able to make my own money to get my own vehicle. But what my dad did help me with was this credit. He signed for it, but I'm the one making the payments for it.
Got it.
I will sign for you, but you make your payments, you pump the gas, you change the oil, and you do the insurance. If you can't do that on your own, I won't buy you. I won't help with the signature. So I'm more of a gray area, you know. If you're able to help your kid with a small portion of something, maybe not money, but just a signature, because at 16 years old, who really does have good credit or any credit at that. Yep. So that's one route that I would take. But I do see the benefit of teaching your kids on how to earn things on their own. But at the same time, I also see from the other end of helping your kids get through life a little bit easier, but then teaching them the value, you know, the principle behind it, and helping them understand like why you're doing it, and also teaching them, you know, the sacrifice they also need to make. Building them with some form of responsibility. But again, I'm just speaking based off of what I've learned, what I've read, what I've seen amongst parents. I don't have kids, so I wouldn't know yet. Maybe, as you're right. I'm speaking out of theory. So once I get to that point, who knows how I'm going to react? Absolutely no idea. Yeah.
So my 3 older kids, they went to Hinsdale High School. You know, Walter High School, right? Remember, if you were playing against Hinsdale Central, excuse me, that's the rich burbs, right?
Yeah.
Across the tracks. None of my 3 kids did I ever buy a car for them. Because I told them one thing. I said, your grades are your currency. You get good grades, you apply yourself in school, you're doing it, I can help you with a car. If you don't, then if you're not doing my part, Daddy can't do his part. And guess what? All 3 kids, they don't want to apply themselves. Yeah. So they dealt with the consequences, and they know that. But now as adult kids, guess what they figured out though? Man, my daughter wanted to start her med spa or esthetician business. Papi, can you help me out with product? Did you complete your certification? Yes, I got you. What do you need? Charge it. Get your product. Stock your shelves. I need this equipment. I got you. You did your part. I do my part. My son, you take care of your responsibilities. You don't bitch. You don't complain. You have a job. You're honest. You can come to me with cash. When they're young, however, I believe that things start way before the car, though. Financial management, getting things that you want in life has to start way beyond teenage years. So if you want to train your kids how to have the conversation at 16, 17 years old, you got to show them everything you get in life has to be earned. I don't believe in allowances. Why don't I believe in allowances? Because you're teaching your kids that just by hanging around, having your last name, living in your house, being a bum, playing video games, I get something for nothing. I get an allowance. You're teaching your kids how to be entitled. So if you do your chores, no allowance. But if you go above and beyond, and here's our criteria to go above and beyond. Are you looking out for your brother and sister? Can I depend on you to babysit when I need to leave the house? Can I depend on you to go above and beyond just reading one book, read 2 books, read 3 books, read 4 books? Can I depend on you to get good grades, apply yourself, to be a good citizen at school, to be a problem solver versus being a problem maker? If you have these criteria, check. You get anything you want. Ask. And so I don't want to be the dad that says no. I want to be that says yes, but yes, you can get this, but you have to do this. And so when we earn things, we value things. We reach up things. Why? Because we got to prepare kids for the rest of the world. The rest of the world is tough. The rest of the world is going to beat your kids up. The rest of the world outside of your covering, they're going to have to deal with life. And I was doing a deep dive into the Rockefellers in the writing of my book, Gotcha. 4 generations down, 5 generations down, even the Rockefeller descendants, they didn't know they were rich. They went to average schools. Some went to public, some went to private. Over 250 Rockefellers are dependent upon John D. Rockefeller's family trust, using life insurance policy to fund the trust throughout these multiple generations. Even the Rockefeller kids didn't know they were rich. You know what's telling them they were rich? Their friends. My mom and dad says your family's rich. I didn't know that. Everybody else got, why? Because everything was earned. And so if you want your wealth to last, if there's an inheritance you wanted to leave your children outside of just money and things and homes and things of status, give them the way you think, that everything is earned. And by the way, it's an annoying thing to have that type of perspective. You know why? Because it forces you to get better. It forces you to raise your standard. It forces you want to evolve and grow. And what's the opposite? Don't do anything. Don't be disciplined. Yeah, I want freedom. I'm going to do me. Great, do you. But it's doing you being disciplined. It's doing you, getting you what you want. If not, then you got to step up. And that part of capitalism, that part of entrepreneurship about improving and raising your standards, it's not a fun conversation to have. But if you really want to have something of value to bring to this world and earn things, here's the thing too as well. How many times, Milton, have you rented a car? You rented a car, right?
Yes.
A couple times, 3 times? How many times would you say in your entire life so far have you rented a car?
Recently, in the last 3 years, a handful of times, maybe about 5-6 times.
Okay.
Because of travel.
Sure. Before you checked it back in, did you get the oil changed?
No.
Did you get the brakes checked?
Absolutely not.
Did you vacuum it and wash it?
Absolutely not, no.
Did you reluctantly fill up the tank back to where it needed to be?
Yeah.
Did you? No. Come on, Milton, tell us the truth. Did you dog the car? Did you hit the gas? Taking the corners more so than you would your own car?
Of course.
How come?
Because I don't value it as much. It's not mine.
It's not yours. That's
mine.
exactly my point.
Wonderful point. Yeah.
We don't when you're renting an apartment versus it being your condo. Were you taking care of your apartment, or were you taking care of your condo?
Taking care of my condo a little bit more.
Because why?
Because it's mine.
Because it's yours.
Yeah, it's mine.
So, by the way, here's another move. Some of you guys are saying, "Oh my gosh, these interest rates are so high." Why don't you approach a homeowner or approach somebody that has a listing on an MLS? Say, "Listen, I'd love to buy your house. However, I can rent it for this. Are you willing to take my down payment, which is a potential exercise of option to buy? Let me give it above an average in the normal security deposit. Rent it to me for this. A portion of that is going to be a percentage to pay for a future down payment down the road. So therefore, in 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, I agree to a price that we do in 2023. So therefore, I can buy it from you 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years from now. That's called a lease purchase option to buy. I bought my first 2 homes that way. And guess what I did with the property when I leased it from them, rented it from them? I took care of it. And guess what that owner did too as well with me? This guy's going to take care of my property because he's wanting to buy it. I'm a much different renter. That might be a play for some of you that either don't have the cash, the credit, or the willingness to pay for a higher payment because of the rising interest rate. Give that a shot. Put 4, 5, 10 offers out there and see what bites in the neighborhood that you want to live in. All right, let's go to the next topic.
All right, so Jordan, can we pull up that TikTok that's in the health and fitness department when it comes down to Joe Rogan speaking about cold plunging?
Ooh, cold plunging.
Yes, sir. I went to the top.
And along the way, a funny thing happened to his testosterone. It went through the roof to 1140, which is crazy high. He said, my urologist didn't believe me. He thought I must be juicing. So he had my luteinizing hormones tested too. Sure enough, 8.9 is off the charts for a fat guy in his 50s. He said, then I did a research and discovered a Japanese study from 1991 that showed the secret was exercising after your ice bath. He said, now I'm stuck with the T levels of an oversexed 19-year-old. I'm not complaining.
After, not before.
So extreme benefit to heavy-duty cold exposure. Right. And then you force your body to heat up, and then you work out.
I got it.
Okay, so again, the debate is what's more beneficial. The debate is what's more beneficial: cold plunging first, or working out after, or working out first and cold plunging afterwards. So again, as Rogan said, there was a Japanese study that happened in 1991 on this specific topic, and I want to walk you through some stuff. It takes about a couple seconds to kind of break it down for the people who don't really want to hear the science part of it. So cold plunge after exercise. So let's start with the post-workout plunge. You just crush your tough gym session and decide to reward yourself with a nice cold plunge. Surprisingly, this might lead to a temporary decrease in testosterone levels, right? Because it's your body's way of saying, all right, time to rest and recover. It shifts its focus and from action mode to repair mode, which can affect hormone production, including your testosterone. Now, cold plunging before exercise. Now let's flip it, right? Let's flip the script. Picture this, right? You step into a cold bath or take a chilly shower before you hit the gym. It gives your body a quote-unquote wake-up call, right? It's also, because of the way you're breathing, it forces oxygenated blood through to your brain and through your entire body. The cold stimulates your system, making it more alert and ready for action. In response, your body might crank up the production of hormones like testosterone, gearing you up for a high-performance workout, which increases your testosterone levels. But to each person, from person to person, is very different. But now, a lot of people who are fact checkers and people who want a little more science behind it, let me give you the reasons why. And very simple, very straight to the point. When you expose your body to the cold, like taking a cold shower or immersing yourself in a cold water, it triggers a response in your nervous system. This response is often referred to as cold stress response. And here's a simplified explanation behind it. Okay, cold exposure activates your sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's fight or flight response. This is your body's way of preparing for a challenge or a stressor. The following thing ends up happening, right? So the first one's your nervous system is activated. Second thing is hormone changes. The sympathetic nervous system stimulation prompts the release of two important hormones: adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, and noradrenaline, also known as norepinephrine. These hormones play key roles in the body's immediate response to stress. They increase your heart rate, alertness, and overall readiness. And then here comes the testosterone response from the first two. Adrenaline and noradrenaline can stimulate the production of testosterone. It's like a signal to your body saying, hey, we need extra strength and energy for what's coming. Testosterone is an androgenic hormone, which means it is involved in the development and maintenance of male characteristics. And it also has anabolic effects with helping muscle growth and repair. So if you're going to do this, try it out one time where you take a cold plunge first, whether a cold shower, whether it's a cold plunge, whether it's an ice bath, whatever the case may be, and then try to get out the water for a couple minutes before you begin working out, and then start your workout. And you're going to notice, the difference in your energy levels, your cognitive, and also for a lot of you guys in your manhood in the next couple of days after you tried this. But you've taken cold showers before. How do you feel after a cold shower?
Yeah, I mean, great. I mean, because your body's heating up. So, but what's beneficial though? Is it more beneficial to do a cold plunge or cryo? For me, the cold plunging for some reason it takes more of this for me. The cold plunging for me. Really?
Yeah, for me. Cryo, I feel that it's more. It helps me with inflammation. Again, I haven't looked at the study, so I can't give you definites. Mm-hmm. But for me, cryo is more okay. I feel it. It feels good. My chest hair is getting frosty. But when it comes down to the cold plunge, I feel it's more of a mental thing. It's more of a mental thing, and it's the fact that you're submerged underneath this cold. Everything's going. Your system's going to fight or flight. So you have to be able to control this.
How long plunge?
2-3 minutes.
Same thing with cryo.
2-3 minutes.
2-3 minutes with cryo.
Yeah.
I like cryo because at least I don't have to towel off and
correct.
Cryo can just warm up. So,
but for those of you who do try it, for those of you who end up trying it, maybe about a week after of trying it, of first doing the cold plunge or cold shower, if you don't have access to that, and then working out, shoot me a message. Shoot me a DM.
I think it's more easier to access cold plunge and cold showers than it would be a cryo, because you got to go to a cryo chamber.
Correct. I'm curious to hear about the results, how you wake up in the mornings and how you and your partner are exploring adult activities in the bedroom.
So before I work out tonight at 6 o'clock, I should go cold plunge or go cryo.
Try it. And then come work out. See how you feel.
Come work out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll definitely do that. Cool. Well, guys, listen. I want you guys to know we're excited because we just booked. We booked a new speaker for our San Antonio event in January 3rd, 1st to February 2nd. Jeremy Lee Minor, sales trainer extraordinaire, will be our next guest speaker at our event here called Escape the Matrix. Very excited about that. We're hosting a private event for our guys that are with us in the PHP agency side of things. Very excited about him teaching our guys professional sales training. And by the way, being a professional sales trainer doesn't mean you're just learning how to do it in business. Being good at sales means you know how to debate good points. It allows you to argue or have conversations with your spouse, debate certain points with your children, and to ask them to do things. If you know how to sell things. I always tell my kids, if there's one skill that I want you to learn instead of getting a college degree, master sales, because you'll always find yourself a job. So that being said, guys, every Wednesday here, 12 o'clock on the 7FigureSquad YouTube channel, we're broadcasting the 7FigureSquad podcast. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Your feedback to us, agree with us, you don't agree with us, please put in the comment section below. So that being said, Milton, appreciate you here on the podcast, and stay posted for our new interviews we got coming out too as well from the 7FigureSquad YouTube channel. So that being said, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, hit like, and drop your comments below. You agree with us? You don't agree with us? Please, we want to know. That being said, by having Milton Alvarez from Dallas, Texas, I'm your mighty smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be mighty smart today.